Alrighty, hello Year 7s, and here we have Kiara's file as promised and a bit of a breakdown how we might make this something we can actually laser cut, and tomorrow in class I'll do that and show you what it looks like. But here's how I'm going to change this file in such a way that Kiara might actually be able to use it. You'll notice here that in the file she has individual lines for each of these, which is fine, but we really need black and white with a red line to cut it out. So to cut it we need a red line, and to make the shapes what we want we need a black. And you'll also notice, even as I move this stuff around, you'll notice in the corners here these little spots with the shapes that Kiara's used do not line up perfectly. So I'll just use the Control plus and we'll zoom in a little. I now use the mouse and the shift to use a little hand to move it around, but you can see here where it's not even lining up properly. So as well as Kiara's done a really good job. So using the Control negative to duck back out again, and again the shift and the left mouse button, I can move it around on the screen. As well as Kiara's done a great job of creating a product that could be cut out. There's a few little things that we could learn in Illustrator to work with that. So for example, I might change this color here to black. So I double click on the box here and open this one up. Black basically is an absence of white, so they got to be an RGB of zeros. Okay, so I clicked on the screen over here, but then checked the RGBs of zeros. And so if they're not, I just highlight it and put 0 in there. Click OK, and it turns to black. You'll notice, obviously, the two circles, the way they're linked up there. And the other thing I might do to have these pop as I go would be to change the color here to white. So the opposite to the absence of black, we go to the highest number, which is 255 across each of these, to get a full white spectrum. And what that would do is, as it cuts out, it might engrave all of this black area and leave the white short. So, but we'd still need to put a red line around the outside to cut it, and I would change this heart here to a white as well. So all of the lettering is white and a black heart. But what I'm going to do is show you actually how to do this whole thing with the same font, but I'm just going to draw around it with my drawing tool, because I think that'll help lots of you with your shapes that you like. So often what I do is I will find an image I like on Google Images, and then I will copy around it to create what I want. And I use these tools over here to do that. So I have a straight line tool, and then I have a curvature tool. I am nowhere near the world's best drawer at these things, but what I do is I zoom in a little bit to what my object shape is, and I start with a straight line, and on the edge of this line here, and you'll notice down here, by the way, I've got a fill that's not there, but I've got a nice white line. So I might change that for what we're doing here to a blue, so that I can see it really easily, and I'll change that later on. So to get started, I do a nice little straight line here from there to there, and you'll see why I do that in a little while. Hold my shift button down to scroll it around, and I take that blue line all the way down to there, and holding my shift I continue to move around, and take that guy to there. I'm going to bring him out just a fraction, and you'll see why I do that. So now I'm going to hit the escape button. See how the line wants to keep going with me? I don't want that to happen, so I hit escape, so it's gone. And I come back up here and I grab my little curvature tool, and you'll see it automatically snaps to where I was before. This is where we start to do our curve around the edge. And what I'm going to do is just gently go around and curve. Ooh, what is going on there? I'm not sure what just happened there. I think it's it's snapped to a line, wanting me to change it. So let's back away from that. Okay. So you can see why that might not be. So we'll just zoom in a bit more again, and we'll keep clicking away from that line. We don't want to touch the line, because otherwise it might do what it just did before and interfere with the circle that is in the background there. Oops, Control Z that. Keep going to push the mouse button, the space button, but not doing it. So staying away, and I'm just going around The smaller the distances apart, the more accurate you are to follow a line. The temptation, specifically with our boys in the class, will be to do big jumps, and that will always hurt. Now you'll notice I'm not going to go right into the corner here, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to escape out of that, and I'm going to use the square tool and draw a small little square line here. The reason why is that it kind of wants to be square in the corners. If I don't use that square tool, I find it gives me curry. So I go back to my curvature tool again. You'll see it wants to jump back out, and I'll come back outside my line here. I'll be a little bit, oopsie, escape, Control Z that. Let's state it. Problem I've got is, if you look back here, and I zoom in with the Control plus button again, and we come in, you can see I've gone to the inside of the line just there. So I'm going to escape out of that tool, and I'm going to Control Z those little squares that I did, and I'm going to do them again. Okay, so go from there, just short of there, and come out a little bit again. Make sure I'm away from that line fractionally. I'm nice and close, so you won't notice these little differences later on. Escape from that, go with the curvature tool again, right, and stay outside the line like I was last time. Rightio. Again, just little distances apart. So what I'm doing here is creating a new love heart in one piece. So Kiara did a really good job of using 3 shapes to create a love heart, which is really cool, and drawing the whole product itself. This gives you a really solid piece of line work that becomes your own, and I just join it up to the whole thing there to finish the loop. You'll notice I now hit escape to escape out of that tool, hit it twice. Alright, and then I go to this one here, which is my selection tool, and if I zoom out, so by Control negative, you'll see I now have this beautiful blue love heart. So I want to change that over here, and I actually want to turn my fill. Well, actually, I'm going to cancel that. I want to turn my fill by just clicking on this red none, and you'll see it's now turned to blue. But I want my line, my line to be red. When we want to cut something, it needs to be red. Okay, so it's 255. The number that it uses, 255, and RGB is 255, 0, and 0. We click OK. And you'll notice now, once I delete these shapes in the background, we're going to have a red line. So I'm going to do that now and delete some of those shapes, hopefully. So delete that one. Of course, it's playing hard to get, isn't it? Let's move a few things around. Oh, I think I've deleted my red shape. How about I move this guy out of the way? So you can now sit over there, no worries. It'll be a bring to the front issue. Not sure why these guys are not playing the game. We'll get to that in a minute. Now I'm going to turn, while I have this one highlighted, I'm going to change its color here, and I'm going to make it black because that's the bit that I want to engrave. So all zeros is beautiful. Click OK. Very sweet message as well to your mum. Make a really lovely Mother's Day gift for her. So make sure while you're watching this video, Kiara, at home, that mum does not see it. We want to keep that surprise happening. Oh, see what happened there? For some reason, this is sitting in its own. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure why that is. There it is. Got a few funny things happening with this file that because I didn't draw it myself, don't quite know what they all are. Of course, we've got this file sitting in over here that I should fix as well while I'm at it. Turn that black. Click OK. So now I can see all the lettering. For some reason, I cannot seem to collect these guys. So what I'll do, oh, there they go. Oh, beautiful. So I can hit delete. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do, you might notice I deleted her little colored heart as well. So what I'm going to do is copy this one. So Control C, Control V. So I've now got a new one. And if I hold down Shift in the corner, just hold down Shift and move it like that, it moves proportionally. So I've now got a nice little one, which is so wonderful. When you've got a shape like that, you can do it as many times as you like. We will also turn this one black. Okay, beautiful. This one here, we will now change the line. So we'll get rid of the fill, like so, and we will change the line to something very red. Again to 55, 0 and 0, okay. And to make the stroke work over on this side, hopefully stroke's working up, but it's in properties. So if you've got some of these toolbars not showing up, that's always a bit of fun too, isn't it? So you'll be able to do them under view and view, or is it window? It might be window, yeah. So you can, under window, you can see which ones are showing up for me. Alright, so if you want any of those showing up like I have them, just go to the window tool and have those ones showing up and you'll have that working, no worries. Alright, so if I go back to my line again, click on this shape, what I want to do is change my stroke to 0.1123. Now that's a very thin line, and I hit enter, and I want it to be a very thin line because that's what the laser picks up to cut out around the shape. So the laser needs a very thin red line of 255, 0 and 0 in its colors, and it needs to be that size that I just did then that showed up. So the size, just for those of you who might need to remember, the stroke size is 0.123, and the laser will then cut that, no worries. So what I want to do is just get these back in here. I'm going to make one small edit. I notice this lots with you guys as students. Capital, gosh, bit of texting fun there for some of you guys. I'll move that down there. Now, Kiara, I am not sure how you want this to be. So I'm going to guess that you want it to be like a placemat for her, which is not really a fashion accessory. It's like a nice little sign that you've made for your mum, which is really sweet, and that's not a problem. But we should probably think about how that could be a fashion accessory. So you might have some answers and want to send me an email response to that. But that is pretty much nearly ready to go into the laser. So the one thing I probably do to finish this, because this is a lovely, the paper size is an A4, which is exactly what we're after. I'm going to just hold, I'm just going to, like, I click my left mouse button down and drag it over everything, so I collect a lot. I might even right click that and go group, so it all stays together. And I'm going to move this up into the corner so that I'm not wasting much material. And let's say that doesn't work when I cut it out on the laser. The next time around I might just go, well, I'm going to put that there now, and I can still see where I'm working on my sheet of ply. Oops, it doesn't quite fit, does it? Or if Kiara wanted to, she could put this here and make a set of earrings, which would be a funny message for a set of earrings. But let's just imagine she does want this as a set of earrings. I can now go Control C and Control V, and I now have another one that I could cut out. And if I was lucky enough, it doesn't quite fit, but I can do this thing called Object, and we come down to Transform, and this thing called Rotate. And I can rotate that, I reckon 180, I might be able to fit two across the top. Hit enter, and pop that. Oh, it's close, isn't it? Really close. So if I go a bit closer to the edge there, and a bit closer to the edge, drop it down a fraction, you'll see there I can now fit two out of the top of the sheet, and I'm not wasting too much material. Okay, nice and close to the edges, and but you can see there that I would be able to cut two of those out, make a nice set of earrings. Probably the one thing that I would suggest to also add to this is that you could put a small circle in the corner that's red, and it might then be able to cut it out. So if I was to do that just as a last little extension activity, I'll delete that one, and I'll come down to our shapes over this side, click on the drop down little arrow there, Come on. Oh, it's not working for me. Why not? Come on. Are you working? Oh, looks like I've got to right click it. Okay, so an ellipse tool shows you how well I know how to use this program, doesn't it? An ellipse tool, I'm going to just draw a little circle in here like so. And of course I need to change the colors. So I don't want any fill in it, but I want to change the color of my edge, my stroke, to that line that gets cut out again. So 255, 0, and 0, click OK, and you'll see over this side I just changed my stroke again to, if you remember, 0.123, hit enter, and now I have, to get out of that tool, I hit escape or just click on the next tool that I want. So you'll see I've got a nice little circle sitting there, so I will regroup all of this again. So group that, and then I can Control C, Control V, and do a object, transform, rotate 180, OK, and drop that guy up into the corner there like so, so I can get 2 out of it across the top, and wonderful. And I could cut that out of the whole sheet. I could create a whole pile of them, and maybe if you wanted to make it more generic, you go lots of love your daughter, or your kitty, or I don't know, something weird like that. Anyway, hope that helped you guys with doing some stuff with using Illustrator and preparing a file for the laser cutter. Any questions, shoot me an email. You know what it is, CGIES5. Anyway, until next time, bye for now.